Yeah, I understand that one. And I was looking at the screen going, now, why isn't this thing actually counting down the time? Oh, I've got to hit
Good.
go live.
Yeah, it is. It counted down.
Yeah, it started counting down. Okay, good. So, hello, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson coming to you from way up in a holler in eastern Kentucky. Hillbilly country, redneck haven, or whatever you want to call it. We're here. This is it. And if anybody wants some of these, anybody who watched this is at some point in the future, whenever, I've got those now. I ordered some in there. I serve for all Americans. If you're brave enough to do it and you feel safe enough to do that on your vehicle, that is a vinyl sticker, window decal. So I serve for all Americans. So I just got some of those in today. So if anybody wants some, you're more than welcome to get them. You can reach me at, let me put my little thing up here. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Where's that? That one. Okay. That one. And that one. All right. So back to the show. Wow. Today at lunchtime during the noontime program, the midday program, oh my God. I did not think I was going to jump off into something like that fast, that deep, so quickly. But 25 minutes later, I was still talking about it. It completely shocked myself. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I knew I wanted to talk about some things like that, but yeah, oh my goodness, I kind of got very verbose. It's not a word you hear here.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to explain that one to me. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I talk a lot.
Okay.
All talking, wordy. I got really
Sure.
wordy.
All right.
And sometimes my other friend down in Florida, she'll say, now, Cassandra, you've got to dumb it down to the third grade. And I said, no, no, I have Google. But speaking of my friend down in Florida, I'm really concerned about her. She is in assisted living now, and really struggling, difficult times for her because she's had to let her service dog be cared for by someone else right now, and she's not doing real well. She's still fighting with everything she's got in her, but chemotherapy is draining her, and she's like 80 something right now, and so she's concerned. So a veteran who jumped 125 times out of a perfectly good airplane, and in Vietnam, and I just want to do a shout out to my friend down there. I'm not going to mention her name at all, other than the Mighty Mouse is all right in that regard. The Mighty Mouse down there. I know that she has good friends in Lake City, Florida, taking care of her and being there for her and being a good friend. And just tough time for her. So with that, I'm going to jump into, oh my God, here we go again. After I got back from down the road with my mom and sister, we actually took a day and went shopping. And that's the first time that I've been out shopping with them in a long time. That's been over a year probably or more. But we went out together. They can't do a whole heck of a lot. I mean, mom's got a walker and my sister Irma's got a wheelchair. So I'm having to fit those into the back of a Mini Cooper. I did successfully. There wasn't much room for much else, but I got it in there. So we went out, and so I asked my sister Irma, I said, so what do you want? It was right about 10:20 Eastern. I said, you want something to eat? Because you didn't eat breakfast, Irma. What do you would like to eat? She goes, nuggets. She says it so fast, and so you really have to pay attention. You've got to be there. You really have to be there to get it. but she's good at it, and she knows what she wants. And so she said nuggets. She wanted some chicken nuggets from McDonald's. So I go order them, and it was 8 minutes after, or it was 10. It was 8 minutes to go before lunch started, but it was like 10:22, and they said, "We haven't started serving lunch yet. Please come back."
I'll wait.
No, I did. I actually drove away because there's people wanting breakfast probably. So I didn't.
That would have sped them up if you said, "I'll wait."
No. The people inside there, they're good people. I know them, and they've been good friends actually.
Okay.
So, I've come to know them. Every time I go through the drive-through, they're all going, "Yay!" Stuff like that. I just go in and I'm laughing and carrying on all the time. Try to anyway. Yep, try to. So anyway, so we did that. Then we went to Walmart and walked around in there. And Mom actually got her in one of those electric carts, buggies.
Yep.
And but she can't see real well, and she's not confident anymore. She used to drive all the time, but not confident anymore doing all of that. So I'm walking beside her, pressing the buttons and driving the thing along and making sure my sister in her wheelchair is somewhere to be seen. And she's 56, but so as soon as she got in the store, she goes, shoo, gone. Took off. So Mom and I are having to chase her around. But she knew exactly what she wanted. She went and got it, threw it in the buggy. So we had a good time in there. I mean, we needed to get out. We hadn't been out in a long time. So it was good for Mom and Irma to get out and see the sun from out there. So anyway, I had two topics in mind I wanted to talk about tonight, Jamie. One of them was I started out on it earlier today on the midday with Cassandra program, and it took off pretty quickly. So here's what's been going on. For the past several weeks, I've been noticing that over on X, that I have two channels over there. One that's my Cassandra account and one that's an anti-fascist account, not the Antifa, but actual real anti-fascist account. And so I get in these conversations all the time. There's a lot of stuff. The Christian nationalists have taken over. And here's the other thing that came up. I mean, I've just started seeing all these people starting to populate conversations. I had somebody I was talking to last week, just briefly. I saw it come across my screen, and they said they are the commander of the Oklahoma Division of the Confederate States of America.
Really?
Yeah. And I go,
that happened?
Last week on X.
I mean, when that organization came about.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, okay. And then today it got somebody else populated into the algorithm, sent them to me, I guess. They are from the 9th Alabama Cavalry of the CSA.
Is it ghosts from the past or what?
Oh, my God. So, I mean, these people it's strange. This is a revival of the Confederate Apologists have swept into X. They're making all kinds of excuses for that whole war being about something other than slavery and everything else like that. And I'm going, no, you really? Right. Well, okay.
I thought it was about the separation. I mean, separating the country there, that was the unconstitutional part of it. You just can't just break off and if you don't all agree with it.
Yeah, you can't. But that wasn't decided until a court case until like 1865.
Yeah, but that was a big part of it too. I mean, the slavery issue was a part of it, but yeah, I mean, you just can't just go and decide, you want to leave the United States and go do your own thing if you got 49 other states saying you can't do it.
Yeah, well, it's much more. It's pretty nuanced and much more complex in a lot of ways. And I know I don't know a whole heck of a lot I mean, there's a lot I know, but there's also a lot I don't know. But what I do know is that the state senators, state representatives who were leaving the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate at the time made it very clear that they were standing up for their right to protect the institution of slavery in their speeches on the Senate and House floors. And then also the Confederate Senate, several senators from there who lived in Texas actually wrote and said, all those apologists like Jefferson Davis who claiming this was not about slavery, don't believe them. They're just trying to make it feel better. They knew it was wrong. This is what I was trying to tell God. They knew this stuff was wrong. And here you're trying to tell me that it was over property rights, private property. They said the U.S. Constitution had rights to protecting private property, and inherent in the word of private property was the ownership of slavery. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe, but by the time Jefferson got a hold, Jefferson didn't like the idea. He was absolutely opposed to slavery, but he was a weak-kneed, lily-livered piece of crap because he didn't have the courage to actually stand up and do something about it when he had the chance.
Right.
Instead, he goes, I don't know. My peers here in Virginia, the aristocracy, they might think I'm kind of not with them on all of this, but that was his biggest reason, really. That was his biggest reason. The impression of his peers, neglecting the fact that he was bankrupt when he was at the end of his life. but I mean, it's crazy because Jefferson was opposed to it, but he didn't have the courage of his own will, own mind to say, no, this is wrong. He knew it was wrong, but he was afraid of how he would look to his peers. And he was also afraid of all the slaves rising up and eliminating all the white people.
I had two cousins there that fought against the slavery, Grant and McClellan. So
yeah, you told me about them. That's cool. I pulled up my earlier today. I pulled up my ancestry thing and showed everybody who was watching. I said, now look, I come by all of this stuff pretty honestly, okay? Because Robert Edward Lee was my second cousin, about 5 generations removed. But that's a long way back there.
Right.
But still, we were related. But the thing is, the Williamson family, the Lee family, the Braxton families, a whole bunch of families over there in Virginia were all intertwined, all related and all hooked together. And I'm going to tell you, my family was involved in the slave stuff, okay? Really, absolutely was. But I still will tell you that they were flat out wrong. They knew it was wrong to own another human being.
Right.
They just knew that everybody knew that it was wrong, unless you were one of those people they were trying to hoodwink into thinking that it's all right. It's just a lost cause and it's our heritage we're trying to protect. No.
There may have been an isolated few slaves, that were very well treated as slaves, but, because I heard about, a few of them there that once slavery ended, they stayed on, So, I mean, they were happy with the arrangements that they always had, but I'm sure that wasn't the case for the majority of them.
The vast majority, no freaking way. No way. But you can tell, though, which groups of slaves actually may have enjoyed their relationship because they took on the names of the plantation owners.
Yeah.
And maybe had those names to start out with, but who knows? But anyway, it's like, well, it's not about that. That was a brutal thing. One person has no right to own another person. No person has a right to own a human being of any kind. No person has a right to own women or children. You're responsible for them, but you don't own them, period.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, I got carried over into that thing. I'm still dealing with it over on X a little bit. I'm trying to pull this person along because he's one of those apologists who thinks the U.S. was about private property, and the South was also protecting private property, but they went explicitly stated they're going to protect slavery as private property.
I'll walk in your house, steal your TV, and possession is 9/10 of the law. It's mine, right?
Doesn't work with slavery.
Well, I would use that same logic. Well, just because you got somebody there or whatever doesn't mean that you got it, legitimately. You can't really
Right.
sell off somebody's life to somebody else. That's what I
No,
was kind of getting at. Just because you got something doesn't mean that it's yours.
exactly right. You have a responsibility to protect it
Right.
and to ensure that it's not killed at your hand.
Right. Right.
That goes with your families and also your whatever. I mean, and I told them this. I said, look, I know that it's mentioned in the Bible. Bible's wrong. I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but the Bible was wrong. This should never have been mentioned. No human should ever own another human being. And I know it's in the Quran as well because I've read the Quran,
Right.
and it's wrong. Muhammad was a idiot. I'll just say it point blank. And so are Hamas, bunch of freaking terrorist idiots.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've run the gamut of my anger today towards different people who espouse stupidity.
I kind of heard a little bit about some state there that was trying to limit transgender services. I heard that it was all the way up to like age 26. I forgot that. Erica, that one that I sent
Aaron,
you the Aaron. Okay, yeah,
Aaron in
yeah,
the morning.
I forget what state it was there, but I just kind of found that just crazy. That somebody's trying to put an age limit of 26.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're going to continue trying these things. They're going to continue pushing them. They'll nibble away at it as long as we don't stand up and try to stop it.
Right.
They're going to continue. They're going to continue doing it anyway, whether we stand up or not. They're going to keep doing it, and they're going to completely ignore our voices because they're in that position right now where they can just ignore us. And you're right. There are states that are running it up 19, 21, 26. I mean, they're pushing it as high as they can go because they want to test how far the Supreme Court will take it.
Well, and everybody said, they want to eliminate transgender out of the LGBTQ, so
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and once that happens, they'll be working on the rest of it. Like I said, gay marriage will be next.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that one's already in the crosshairs. I'm starting to see those conversations about gay marriage.
Yeah.
It's starting to pop up more and more frequently. I think it was just last week, Kim Davis from Kentucky, last week or the week before, Kim Davis, who refused to marry the gay couple here in Kentucky a number of years back in 2015 or something.
Right.
She refused to do it and went to jail for just a little while over it. It was whatever, stuck her in there for a little bit. And it's back. She's back in the news. And then these other groups like the Heritage Foundation put out a piece talking about gay marriage. And then also there was another one. The Family Research Council has always been after it.
Yeah.
The Alliance Defending Freedom, they've made it clear. All you have to do is look around the world at what they have done in every country they have been in. In every country they've been in full force and poured a lot of money into, and CPAC has been there with them. Those countries have rolled back LGBT rights.
Right. Well, I know too in San Francisco, I don't know if it was a council person or whatever, but I mean, the fact was brought that he was gay, and that he tried to, really talk about doing away with, gay marriage because they had domestic partners. Thing was like a part of the law or something that was out there. But, once you let one thing slide, it's all going to slide.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't understand is we got these Uncle Toms.
Yeah.
It's just baffling to me. But it's crazy. So
well, it's kind of self-serving, it's not bothering me. So yeah, go ahead and bother them. It's not going to bother me, but eventually it will.
yeah, I'm wondering what Besson thinks. He's in charge of what, Treasury or something? Gay man.
The name kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not exactly sure. But
shoot, let me find out. I need to make sure what I'm talking about here. Decent.
I know that they had even a lawmaker here in Michigan there that was trying to strike that down too. And when you got, Democrats are in the state are still the majority, but you got so many people sitting on the fence. Nobody's doing anything. They haven't even passed any bills this year. We were supposed to have a budget July 1st. We don't even have a budget for the year. We're into August, and we don't even have a budget. You got
Wow.
You got them going and suing Trump on every damn thing that comes along, instead of worrying about the issues here at hand.
Yeah.
Standing there with their hand out, they're worried about what Trump is going to give them instead of trying to make us prosper, so we don't need to have our hand out to the government.
Yeah.
The unemployment here is getting higher and higher, and the quality of life is going down because of the high taxes, the high utilities, the high insurance.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. I mean, you have the wrong focus. Completely
Right.
wrong focus. So you mentioned something talking about taxes being high and all that kind of stuff, and jobs, unemployment rising there in Michigan.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the president firing the statistician that was over the jobs report?
Well, I think that if he can show, and maybe he can, it was just a matter of time. I think that he probably should have held off until you can. If you got proof to show some, what you're claiming, there's no problem with it. But just to blindly make a statement, not have any proof, that's not real good.
Well, he doesn't have any proof.
Well, okay, but that's what I'm saying. If he had proof, I could stand by it. But if he doesn't, he probably shouldn't have done it at this time.
It's political.
Yeah.
It's everybody for the longest time. People have claimed, especially on that side where he's at, that they're manipulating those numbers, the jobs numbers. They've been saying that for a number of years. They said that Biden was doing it with his statistician who was running the jobs numbers at the end, holding off and all that kind of stuff. Well, I ran a check over the past 50 years. I did a deep dive with my research tools over here. And it turns out over the past 50 years, that current employment statistic, the CES, it's they are always revised twice after their initial release. Always revised twice. The first revision is released 1 month after the initial estimate, and the second final revision is released 2 months after the initial estimate. These revisions are a normal part of the process and are done to incorporate additional data that comes in after the initial survey is complete.
Does it say whether they estimate too high or too low on average?
Over the past 50 years, upward revisions occurred 56.55% of the time. Downward revisions occurred 43.27% of the time. No change occurred only 0.18% of the time. This means that the mean absolute error for these revisions is approximately 56,230 jobs. This means that on average, the final number is about 56,000 jobs different from the initial announcement, plus or minus. And it's always been the case. The time series of job number revisions. Let me see. Initial or final job number estimate, statistical relationship, scatter plot shows the relationship between the initial estimate. That's a plot that I had asked to generate. While the revisions are a constant feature of the jobs report, a high correlation shows that the initial estimate is very good, though not perfect, indicator of the final number. The revisions, while important for accuracy, do not typically change the overall picture of the labor market that is presented in the final report. Right. So she was following the procedure that's been going on for 50 years.
Yeah, okay. Well, like I said, if he was going to make that claim and he had the proof, I could say that'd be okay. But to blindly make that statement and have no proof, I think that was wrong. Yeah.
That's true. That is definitely wrong, and I'd have to agree with you on that. It was just one example, but anyway, I found that really fascinating about that because I was concerned. You don't want to give off the appearance that you're firing someone because they didn't give the numbers that you wanted them to give.
Yeah, he's kind of right there. Schumer was about shooting the messenger.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened here. It's exactly, because who else did stuff like that?
Yeah,
that's not the situation that's like that. I mean,
right.
Who else did stuff like that? If you don't like the messenger, oh, we're just going to go ahead and take care of that. We got a bullet for them out back.
Right. Yeah, Chuck Schumer, I think that he has said very little that I consider truth, but I guess that was one.
Yeah. They both, all of them are prevaricators in the extreme.
Well, I mean, being a politician should have never been a career. I say, one and run. Once as president, once as vice president. If you want to jump around, at the top, that's fine. But the president and everybody else, one term and you're done. Even the Supreme Court, they need to say, 1 6-year term or something. They ought to give them a term limit to take them out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really think that one probably ought to be 18 years.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think it ought to be. I think the Supreme Court ought to be 2 to 3 times longer than what the Senate has.
Well, I mean, what's wrong too? I guess once a year you do an evaluation. Do you stay or do you go?
Right. Who makes that? Who makes that decision?
Well, it would be the people.
Oh well, in that case, none of them would be there.
Well, think about it. Everything's on the line and stuff like that. Once you got a system, you can verify. That somebody voting is legitimate. Why wouldn't you go with that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I do know what Thomas Jefferson thought about it.
What's that?
He wrote a letter in July the 12th of 1816 to his friend Samuel Kercheval. And he was not opposed to changing the Constitution, but he said it should be done infrequently. And he said that the people he knew who were the founders and writers of these documents and all that from the early part of the federal period, they would agree with him on all of that. But he did say that as people grow and mature and learn new things and gain new knowledge, then they should have the freedom to be able to adjust and adapt those documents to their needs.
I agree. I mean, everything should be up for review. I mean, there's a lot of amendments that came along afterwards that were very beneficial. And things do change through the years. Some of the the early things there, it's a little bit more complicated than what it was a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah, exactly right.
But like I said, these people that stay in office 30, 40 years, you got a job that pays $100,000 and they get out of office and they're a multi-millionaire. Some of them are like over $100 million. Where do you get that money? You didn't get it on your wages. Is it insider trading in the stock market or something? You're creating the laws so you know what to put the money into because you're passing the laws that benefit those companies.
Mm-hmm.
Insider trading is supposed to be illegal like that, but I think that it happens way more than somebody wants to admit.
Yeah, well, we know it does. It has to. I mean, how else do you account for those kind of increases in their lifestyles, and resources?
I would love to know what Anthony Fauci is worth there. I got no respect for that man. Basically everything that he did, was very underhanded and really treasonous, if you ask me, because, he was telling you 1 minute, one mask, no mask, and get the jab, you're good forever, and you need the booster, so.
Science adapts. Me personally, I have no problem with Fauci. None whatsoever. I followed his advice. I will go with me personally, Jamie. I will always go with the side of science and not ivermectin.
Well, we were all guinea pigs because really it didn't have no track record.
It always is, and we didn't have the time to wait, and also it did work. So,
Well, I mean, you hear about these people there, the young people there that had the heart attacks and stuff like that. I mean, how do you explain that?
well, I don't know the details specifically, so I can't say. And a heart attack is a horrible thing for anyone at any age. That
Yeah.
is for sure. I don't know if there are any other causes, any other underlying reasons. I don't know the details to be able to specify actually what was going on or whether or not that shot may have caused it. And it could have. There are side effects with all these things.
Right.
Absolutely. There are side effects. And we all know that. As a matter of fact,
What they said too, they said that once you got that shot, you had to live 2 weeks until you could say that it was a side effect, that caused it.
most people
So
they got the shot, they survived generally.
right, but I mean, if somebody develops something, and another thing too, I mean, if you had COVID in the hospital there, many people told me, that they didn't die from the COVID, but they died with COVID, and the COVID was listed as the cause of death, even though it really wasn't. I guess the hospitals were supposed to have got like extra money to say, that it was a COVID death.
Yeah. There could have been some of that going on. I'm sure there was. We do know that there's a lot of unscrupulous people in all fields of practice. We know that.
And our governor sent COVID patients to the nursing homes to wipe them out.
Well,
Huh?
I don't think they sent them there to wipe them out. That's pretty.
Well, but that's the way it worked. You had six governors. Michigan, New York, and there's four other ones.
Uh-huh.
Why would you send somebody that was sick like that to someplace that had weakened immune systems and stuff like that? I mean,
where else would you send them?
well, you isolate them somewhere else. The whole scheme of things there is you should have took the vulnerable people and kind of isolated them from everybody else and let the normal people that were healthy keep on working.
So children and old people would have been isolated.
Well, the children were really at risk. I mean, from what I understand there, that the shots were really never recommended for the really young kids, the school age kids and stuff like that. But, that was pushed for a long time, even though there was no evidence that it was any benefit, from what I've been told.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know enough of those details to get into that one real deep. I do know, though, that I have a tendency to, it may be a failing on my part. I don't know. Not sure. But I have a tendency to more easily respect the people who have been working in these fields for all of their lives than somebody who just pops up and says, oh, that bleach works.
Well, I mean, that was more a idea than it was, a practical thing. Yeah. I mean, I remember, that it's kind of taken out of context. It got made something I think more than it was. But what kind of shot did you get?
I have the Moderna.
Okay, I had two J&Js. I got at the VA, and then I had one Pfizer.
Yeah.
The thing was, when I was working, I was working, at Tyson at the time, so I was an essential worker. They frequently took us out for testing and stuff like that, and it looked like they were going to force us to get a shot anyway. So I picked the one that I wanted before they gave me the one that they said I needed.
Good for you. Well, I went to the VA and said, is that shot ready yet? And they said, no, come back in a week. So I came back in a week and got that shot. And before the boosters came out, I'm going, is the boosters out yet? Because I know you got to have a booster. Had a booster when I was a kid. All kinds
of God. I still remember that. We had a big VA, a clinic there. And I mean, this guy came by and he unbuttoned my shirt.
Oh.
I go, what in the hell are you doing? I said, well, I need to get, a tie. I said, all you had to do is ask. You don't have to unbutton my shirt.
Right. Right. I was in, geez, Saginaw,
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
when that, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, that was fun up there.
Yeah.
Got to meet the most wonderful person ever right there in Saginaw.
I grew up
VA.
about 20 miles south of there.
Oh, wow. Beautiful place. There weren't
Yeah.
many people out though. There was dead to the world. There was nothing. Just me and that girl meeting out in a park out in town because she couldn't meet at the VA because they weren't allowed to be there.
Well, I dealt with that too, going into a VA center, and seeing a veteran there that wanted to go see somebody. You can't get in here. You don't have an appointment. He says, I've been trying for the last 3 days on the phone to get a hold of somebody, and nobody would answer. And I know that
Yeah.
he was right. And I went home and I called my senator and I said, you can't do that shit. You got people that can't go on the computer and arrange all this stuff. I said, nobody's answering the phone. I said, you can't deny somebody access into there if they can't make an appointment and they're trying.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I had the guy there that was in charge of the VA center call me up and apologize and said that won't happen again. That he agreed with me.
Okay, but sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you just don't want to be the one who gets split in half.
Well, like I said, when he was right and I seen he was right, I was willing to go the distance for him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's same thing. Absolutely. Well, the other topic I wanted to talk about is one that this is what is this? We are 36 minutes into this thing already.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking we may have to talk about this at a different day because I don't want to go so long into this and nobody continues watching. You know why those TED Talks are always 16 minutes long?
Why is that?
Because they know that you lose people's attention after that. They are no longer paying attention to you. They got their phones out, the pads out, the notes out, thinking about something else. So if you can't convince people in 16 minutes, they'll shut it off. That's it. They've learned that that's the way it works. Yeah.
People's attention are getting shorter. I can say that's true.
Yeah. Feels like it, doesn't it? Oh my God. I know mine is.
Well, we're getting older there,
Come on. We don't want to tell anybody. Oh my goodness.
We still know our names. We know where we're at. We're doing okay.
Yeah. Boy, the topic I wanted to talk about was about XX and XY genes.
Okay. Yep.
And mine are blue. Like Sydney Sweeney blue.
Okay.
Go buy her jeans. An American Eagle.
Yeah, that's right.
You know why? Because the left and the right are just acting like idiots over this girl.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God, it's just disgusting. I was watching The Five today, and here they are talking about Sydney Sweeney and that she's the kind of girl that all the guys want and all the girls want to be like her. And I'm going, y'all are male chauvinist pigs. And then over on the left, you got people saying it's racist and it's garbage and you shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. What? That's stupid. That's crap. Grow up, people. Come on.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the feminists. The feminists right now, think that the trans women in sports competition is okay. So they're the ones that's, well, you go on this feminist news, on Facebook there, and those are the most liberal people. To me, that they want to sit back and take everything free that the government will give them, and that they can do anything that they want with their bodies, and the world owes them a living, and everything. I don't get it.
The only part I agree with in those three parts about taking everything the government will give them and do anything they want to do with their bodies, and then the other part, I forget what the last one was, but the middle one right there, the one about do what they want with their bodies. Well, I'm going to do what I want with mine, and they have every right to do what they want with theirs.
Well, okay, but what I'm telling you though, I mean, okay, but the choice wasn't given there to the veterans either when it came to the COVID shots, and they got released. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean
Well,
you got to get shots when you go in the service. I understand that, but that wasn't one of them when you enlisted.
yeah.
I mean, if you
I'm,
got
I'm
somebody
all
that's
right.
willing to die, for the country, and that's the only thing that's a deal breaker. I mean, why for a shot?
Yeah, they shouldn't have been kicked out over the shot. That's for sure for refusing to take it. But at the same time, the military does have an obligation to protect its troops in mass, and
Yeah, they are protecting
we,
us.
yeah, we do know that in 1918, during the Spanish flu, which was not really the Spanish flu, it was actually American flu. It got transported over to Spain and then called Spanish flu.
Right. Yeah.
It came from the Midwest in the U.S.
Right.
So, but anyway, I
That's
digress.
I know they did.
Yeah. So those soldiers, I mean, they were told to wear masks. People were wearing masks then. They put rags over their faces.
Yeah.
And they knew that they had to, though, because if
Right.
you didn't, you would die.
Right.
So they were doing everything they could. Even though they knew that a piece of cloth was probably not as effective as it could possibly be, but they were still doing it because they knew that got to do something.
Well, even the social distance, I've never heard anybody there that said that the social distancing, the 6 foot, that wasn't
No.
even a law overseas. Once you got out of the United States, 6 foot, was unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me see now. I was in Grand Cayman just as this stuff kicked off. I was in there in March, and this whole thing, everything shut down at the end of March.
Yeah.
And I remember flying out. Nobody was wearing masks or anything like that out of
Right.
Grand Cayman. They weren't social distancing. We were cramming ourselves into a jet.
Right. And
And they
like
were,
I remember going in the stores too, where you had arrows on the floor. If I needed something that down there was about 2 steps down that way, and the arrow was going the other way, I didn't have no problem with walking and getting it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I remember doing that when I was working at the University of Alabama
Yeah.
during that period of time. And we had to put arrows down on the floor to tell people this is the way you go to get that item. And all the traffic needs to move in that direction.
I actually went into a Myers store. They had fishing licenses. I wanted to buy a fishing license. The governor of the state said that was a prohibited item to sell. I could go to the bait shop and buy one, but I couldn't buy it at Myers. There was things like home and gardening stuff there you couldn't buy. You could go in the store, but it was like forbidden
Wow.
things to buy. For why, I'm not sure.
That I don't know. That is crazy right there.
Well, you need to go through and just see some of the crazy things that our governor has done. I mean, her husband there wanted to get the dock put in, in front of everybody else, and I mean, he tried to bring it out to the dock owner's attention. He said, "Would it make any difference if I told you that, my wife was the governor?" He said, "It sure would. You went from here on the list down to the bottom." He said, your wife cost me a lot of business and a lot of businesses to fail. You're way down on the list. That hit the news, and and the governor. Well, he was just joking around. He wasn't serious, all this stuff. And you have the governor, stay home and everything, and turn on the TV. And hell, she's in New York City, like on TV. She's down in Florida seeing her family. She's telling you to stay home.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was
That kind of
crazy
stuff.
too. In Minnesota, you're sitting on your porch, and you get, the cops are shooting shit, to go inside. You're on your own porch, you're minding your own business, but somebody's telling you got to go inside.
Yeah. 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 They took things a little bit too far. That's for sure.
I think that they were just trying to test to see how far they could push the people.
Personally, my opinion is that it wasn't so much as a test to see how far they could push. It was they were testing to see what was working and what wasn't. And
Well,
they didn't
shoot
know.
somebody on their own front porch. And a thing too, you could go fishing, but you couldn't use an engine. Why?
Right, exactly.
You
I don't know.
could take a rowboat, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was just so many crazy things in this state you couldn't do. It just had your head, spinning. You know, what are they thinking?
Here's the thing, though. Really, everybody followed the rule, though, didn't they? For the most part.
No, you actually had people in this state that said, I refuse to close my restaurant. I refuse to close my barber shop. They got fined and everything. And the Supreme Court come by, and said, that they were wrong. I don't know if this person that owned the restaurant ever got made whole. I know she paid about $1,000. She had GoFundMe. I mean, she had people supporting her.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you can't tell a small mom and pop business, you got to, close down and lose your livelihood.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some of these people got a little bit of compensation, but most of them didn't.
Yeah.
You had people that got unemployment that never worked a day in their life.
Yeah.
They're getting $963 a week to sit on their ass and do nothing.
Yeah.
I couldn't even earn it. I was working at Tyson. I'd be lucky if I could make $500 or $600.
Yeah. Yeah. That was wrong.
Yeah.
They should have been paying everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there was so much fraud going on. I remember one time Michigan had an $8 billion slush fund. Now they're broke. Where the hell did it all go? Nobody's saying where that $8 billion went.
Huh. Have you been digging into it to see where it went?
I would love to see it. I'm running for city council. I want to see the budget. The fiscal year started July 1st. I want to see what they've got money for this year so I can maybe figure out what I want to maybe try to shoot for, next year when July 1st comes roll around.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the tax base like there?
It's kind of high, but most of the taxes are paid with the schools. So, I mean, you got good schools. I don't have any kids in school, so I mean, it's not benefiting me. But I mean, I like where I live. I mean, it's a small town and it's close to everything. I've lived here for 32 years. They're not running me out of town. I know that I'm only the only transgender that owns a house in this town.
Right.
I could walk down here in City Hall and everybody knows my name.
That's good.
It is. I think that it is. But,
it is good.
I've also got a shirt there. I don't know if did I send you the picture of that shirt?
What does it say on it?
Well, it's got a girl on there that said, "I'm here to stir up shit" or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, and I plan on wearing it at the council meeting just to see what kind of reaction I'll get from it. There's so many people that go to those council meetings, and they're just like rubber stamping everything. They sit there. Everybody, you got any questions, any comments about it? I mean, they just sit there and they don't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got so many things in this town, that people need, and then you see all this money being spent on things that people want, but they don't need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, if I get in there, I'm gonna say, do we really need this? Let's talk about it. I don't think we do. Convince me.
All right. Well, that's good though. I mean, that's being very accountable for the
prudent, frugal, and around here it's like a Dutch joke. If you're Dutch, you're very thrifty and things like that. And I am Dutch, 6%, but it's small.
That's cool. That is awesome.
I mean, I can joke about it, and most people do. I mean, there's things around here that people used to do. The no alcohol on Sunday. If you had a TV, nobody knew about it. You'd have a TV antenna in your attic. There for a while, you had to go to the next county to buy any kind of alcohol on Sunday, bring it home and drink it, in private, and it's just things like that, it's it was just the way that it was. They're very ultra conservative Christians, the Christian Reform.
Oh, okay. Christian Reform. What is that?
Well, it's like I said, it's a very conservative Christian church. Mm-hmm. And you got so many different variations of them, too. So,
yeah.
But
Hmm.
For the most part, I would say that I'm conservative, at least fiscally, but
Yeah.
I think when it comes to other issues, especially with the LGBTQ community, leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's not hurting you shouldn't be anybody's concern but theirs,
Yeah. I mean, I do remember the last time I walked down the street and actually knocked on somebody's door and says, "Can I persuade you to be a gay person?"
You got a nice ass. You want to see it? Maybe I could change your mind, right?
Let me knock. I'm going to knock on this door right here. That one's got the big steeple on the front of it there. Bro, I'm going to knock on that door and say,
there
"Hey."
you go. I mean, people come around here and try to push their religion on you, but most people, the trans community and everybody else, we don't go around door to door trying to convince everybody that you ought to convert.
Exactly. I've told people that recently too on a lot of these different social media places.
Right.
So look, I am not shoving who I am down your throat. You think I am, but the people who are actually doing it are the ones knocking on my door.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I won't promote what I'm doing, but I'll defend what I did to myself. I think that it's my right, and just if I'm not hurting anybody, mind your own business, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm going to talk about this topic on the next show, but
Okay.
I was going to talk about XX and XY, the genes, actual genes, and not. I kind of played off of the genes into Sydney Sweeney because that's just the topic du jour.
Yeah.
but people in our community have got it really screwed up a lot of times, and we like to think that we are who we say we are, but we don't base it on any kind of reality. And I can tell you that most, at least the people I talk to, they don't even want to talk about genes and genetics and stuff like that. They're in denial of those things. And you can't be in denial of the science that's staring you in the face. And not just that, but you know how I know that I have XY genes? I mean, besides knowing, academically knowing, and even with ancestry knowing,
Yeah.
but I don't have to go very far to find it. I have a son. Any idea where the Y gene came from? It came from me.
Oh yeah, I'd agree.
So we are running scared of our own bodies a lot of times, and the knowledge of who we are. So people try to use that against me. They say, "You're not an XX person." I say, "Okay, yeah, I know." I know I'm not, but I also don't care because it's not about that.
Right. I mean, it doesn't bother me if the neighbor wants to paint their house pink. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Right.
mean, it's your choice.
Right. It's your property, your private property.
Exactly. If they want to have a bunch of 55 gallon drums of gasoline sitting around, but next door to me, I might have a problem with that because that might make it a little bit dangerous to me.
Yeah, might be. And yeah, exactly. Exactly right. Especially if you had a bunch of gasoline and 55-gallon drums and you just went down and bought 1,000 pounds of fertilizer.
Yeah. I mean,
I get a little concerned.
Hot day, a spark,
Exactly.
neighborhood,
Yeah, I've got a story wrong.
Things like that. What I do bothers nobody else,
Yeah.
So that's what the world needs to realize. Just mind your own business, and we'll all get along just fine.
Exactly. I came home one day from school as a kid, got off the school bus, and all of my siblings. I'm the oldest of 6,
Yeah.
and I think 5 of us were on that. Well, not 5, probably 4 of us were on that bus. And the first thing I noticed going up our little holler, Forest Hills, here, not too far from here, was that the creek was foamy. It was just full of soap bubbles, and it got bigger and bigger. I mean, it's just
the PFAS,
huh?
PFAS,
PFAS.
yeah, the firefighting agents.
Oh no, nope. I got off the bus we had to walk a half a mile to get to our house. Okay.
Yeah.
Half a mile up a holler. It's called Beach Road, Beach Holler, something like that. And literally a half a mile up. But got off the bus and you see a mountain of soap bubbles. I mean, a mountain of soap bubbles. And it went all the way up the creek to our house. And my brothers and sisters, they were going, yeah, running through there. I'm going to tell you something. I didn't speak to them for 3 weeks. I was so embarrassed.
Where'd it come from?
Well, I knew where it came from. I suspected anyway. Dad had a steam cleaning business, a commercial steam cleaning business, and a 55-gallon drum of soap, industrial strength soap, sitting beside our house. And I didn't know anybody else who would have a 55-gallon drum of soap. Somehow it must have got tipped over. It was raining that day. Obviously, it was raining.
Yeah.
And that 55, when you start talking about 55-gallon drums of gas, that 55-gallon drum of industrial strength soap, it felt like it was burning me up. It was just horrible for me. Oh my God, I wouldn't talk to them for the longest time. They treated that like it was a game, running up and down through that, and they had fun, and that's fine. Looking back on it, I think it was fun, but I would have. But at the time, it felt like the world had just collapsed around me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, who are those people? I don't know them. They're not related.
Well, I mean, did the neighbors say anything to you about it, or?
No, we cleaned the creek out.
Really?
No. The bubbles stayed. I mean, they washed down the creek. It was raining a lot. They ended up washing out, but the soap actually went on down the creek to the river.
Okay. Well, I guess no harm done, right?
No harm done. No, we cleaned the environment that day.
Yeah.
Cleaned the trees. It was up in the tree limbs.
Really? Wow.
It was that massive. This stuff is powerful soap.
Wow.
But, jeez, oh my God. Anyway, we've been at this almost an hour.
I enjoyed it. Did you?
Yeah, me too.
Alrighty.
Absolutely. I know that we've got a few things to work out, like I'm a friend of Fauci.
Yeah, you have a lot of convincing. I'll listen,
I know.
I also had a cousin there that wasn't allowed to go see her heart specialist, and she died because they made her reschedule the appointment. So
yeah,
I'm not good with that. The abortions didn't stop here in the state. That was important to the governor.
Yeah,
but everything else pretty much shut down.
Right.
I was paying insurance for even dental. You couldn't have any dental work done unless it was an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there was a lot of things that happened that just kind of rubbed me wrong, that I don't think they'll ever make it right with the people that lived here in this state, so.
Yeah, no, that's everywhere. There's a lot of people who feel that way too. And I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot more about it over the next year and a half. Anyway.
And if Fauci didn't do anything wrong, why did he have a pardon?
Well, that, I don't know. That. That's a good question. Everybody will say that. And I think, I don't know. I think that was something that somebody did that they didn't check with Fauci about. Because I do know that he would have felt like, well, why do I need a pardon for what? I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, that'd be my thought. I think they say that's nice you did that, but I don't feel like I need it. So
right, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of questions. Yeah. I do need to run. It is now 7:03 and time to get the meds to the family.
Okay. Well, have a good night. Nice chatting with you, and hope to see you soon.
All right, Jamie. Thank you so much. I'm glad we have these conversations. They're so much fun, and there's no telling where they'll go.
Well, that's true. we get an audience, to get to chime in with us, and we may take it longer than an hour.